I was just out here feeding my kittens, the feral kittens and the other feral cats, and I noticed the kind of brisk breeze and how things have started to change in the weather, and I looked around at the grass, how it's starting to die, and I looked at my garden and the other plants in the yard and noticed how they're starting to die back, and realized very soon I'm going to have to pull my garden, and it saddened me. And then I thought about how things are changing and how very much I dislike the change of the seasons from summer to fall and fall to winter. And I'm reminded how much I love the change of the season from winter to spring. I look forward to that. I absolutely love the change from winter to spring. My favorite day of the year is the first day of winter, because I know the days are going to start getting longer and the weather's going to start improving. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is change. Hi friends, Karma here with Lewis Acre Farm, and I'm here with your Thought for Thursday. And I wanted to talk to you about change and how that applies to our everyday life. I'm going to turn around and kind of show you my garden as I talk to you. This bed here had cabbage and potatoes and a few onions, and now there's a few marigolds, and I planted some radishes and turnips, and there's one cabbage left that I don't think is going to have time to mature. Unless we actually get some moisture, this garden here is pretty well done. This is thyme right here, and our irrigation has already been turned off for the year, so I don't have a way of watering anything without hauling buckets of water from the house. You see, I live in a high desert, and without irrigation, we don't have water. Our area gets 13 inches of precipitation on average per year. That's not in a storm or in a season, that's in a year. So I look at this. Now this bed here has eggplant, it has one potato left, and it has my cucumber and a couple of onions left in it, and a basil. I'll be having to move my basil inside in order to keep it alive. My cucumber is actually coming back. It didn't do well during the summer. But everything else is dying and changing. This plant here has died. It's done producing for the year. I need to pull it. I just haven't. I can't bring myself to do it. I have a few things that are still producing. But I was thinking about it, and, you know, if we don't change, we never grow. And it's like the seeds that we plant in a garden. If we never plant the seed, that seed just lays there, dormant, waiting for an opportunity to grow into a plant, waiting for that plant to mature, to produce fruit, waiting for the opportunity to be harvested, to provide nourishment for those who need it. So if we never plant a seed, that seed can never reach its potential. It never has its opportunity to find out what it was meant to be. Yes, plants go through a transition stage. They will mature and eventually die, like the corn. But every plant produces seed. Some plants are perennials or biennials. Kale is a biennial. This is my kale here. And it'll come back and produce next year. I'll harvest more next year. If I'm lucky, it'll even produce another year after that. But if allowed to go to seed, I can harvest seed from it and plant more the following year. It will continue to change. It will continue to produce a harvest, even after it's dead, because its seed will continue to flourish. Those mums are a perennial. They will come back every year and produce a beautiful display of color for us. The same with those Asiatic lilies and the asters. They'll also produce seed. My tomatoes, they produce an abundant amount of seed. Now the mother plant will die, but if I allow tomatoes to drop into the ground, those seeds will come up the following year and I'll have more tomatoes than I'll know what to do with. But they have to go through transition. Just like those acorn squash there and my sunflowers. They have to die back and change in order to mature and produce a harvest. It's the same thing with our lives. A baby is born and has to grow and mature before they can hold their head up, eat solid foods, walk, crawl, run, talk, play, do any of those things. Before they can go to school, they have to learn certain things. It's the same with our spiritual walk. We come to a knowledge of Jesus Christ as our Savior, but there's so much more than just knowing who He is. We have to be willing and to be pliable and to be changed by the knowledge of Christ. We have to allow Him to change our heart and to mold us into what He wants us to be. And we have to be willing also to plant seed and allow someone else to be the gardener, to be the one to water the seed. Just because you plant a seed in someone's life doesn't mean you're going to be the one to reap the harvest or even to water that seed. Change is not comfortable. Change can be very daunting and it can hurt. Change can cause a lot of hurt. Yeah, it's going to hurt me to pull my garden because I get so much pleasure being out here and putting my hands in the soil and watching my plants produce throughout the year. But I know spring's a-coming and I'm going to be able to be out here again in just a few short months. There's something better on the way. There's always something better on the way when you put your trust in God. Sometimes you have to go through the dark times, the season of winter, in order to enjoy spring and summer and even fall. Sometimes you have to go through the less pleasant times of change in order to enjoy what God has in store for you. When you have given a gift, you don't take it back. You leave it with the recipient. So why would you give something to God and take it away? If you're going through a difficult time of change, give it to God and leave it in His hands. Let Him be the one to mold you and make you, and let Him be the creator that He is. It says in the Word that you are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me. And that's what He wants to do. Let Him change you from the inside out. Let Him create in you a clean heart. No, change isn't always pleasant, but change is beneficial. Change will help when you allow God to be the potter, when you allow Him to take control. So I just want to encourage you to not fear change, but to embrace it and look at it as a new adventure and a new opportunity. And just remember that God's got your best interest at heart, and He promises to never leave you nor forsake you. And so just put your faith in Him. Faith, as my pastor was teaching this past Sunday, faith is heaven's currency, and we exchange faith for results, to put it simply. So put your faith in God and allow Him to change you and to mold you and make you. So this has been your Thought for Thursday. This is Karma with Lewis Acre Farm. Go with God and be blessed. Love you guys.